So what can I say? It was a good homecoming for Mr. Tom Brady. I mean, to me, when you throw for 29 out of 35 for 376 yards and 3 touchdowns. All right, long story short, I'm fully convinced that Tom Brady, at least this season, and I said it before, you don't mess with him when he's angry, and clearly he's angry. All right, because screw the NFL and screw Roger Goodell, most likely, more than the NFL in general. But the fact of the matter is this: Tom Brady, oh, he's scary when he's pissed off, but he's possessed by a demon. I am convinced that he's possessed by a demon. I'm serious, because the man is like 39 years of age, I believe. He's knocking on the door for 40. And usually by this time, people were saying, oh, they're too old, the quarterbacks, they need to retire, they sucks, blah, blah, blah. I'm pretty sure when he's on a rampage that he's on, when it comes to being as accurate, being as consistent, and being as a scoring machine that he's been, I'm sure as of right now, knocking on wood, that the New England Patriots, including, of course, Mr. Robert Kraft and Bill Belichick, are not thinking about replacing Tom Brady in the near future. And that's no disrespect to Jimmy Garoppolo, because we all know Jimmy G played well until he got injured. But, LeGarrette Blount had a decent game, 13 attempts, 50 yards, and that touchdown was more of like, LOL, we're just freaking destroying the Bengals right now, we're not taking a knee. And I know people don't like that. They don't like when teams are poor sports about it, quote unquote, and that, they're not taking a knee, that they're, basically putting up the score and blah, blah, blah. Hey, it's like the old saying, if you can't stop them, then it's your problem, alright? It's whatever, deal with it. Rob Gronkowski, by the way. Anybody notice this guy someone come to life? I mean, people want to joke about how Tim Tebow's Jesus. I mean, Tom Brady. How ironic that he comes back and Rob Gronkowski wakes up from his coma and he's like, whoa, I can play well again. I can get 7 receptions, 162 yards, and a touchdown. What a coinkydink. And then James White, remember I said last week how he was doing his best Deion Lewis impersonation by having, in this game, 8 receptions, 47 yards, and a couple of touchdowns? Yeah, he's doing his best Deion Lewis impersonation, man. And it's just, I think if it's not official by now, it has to be. If you're a running back or like a receiving back, and you have number 12 for the New England Patriots, and it's his last name Brady on there, you're most likely going to do well. Okay, it's just a thing. However, despite how well the Patriots played in their 35-17 victory in Foxboro, which again was Tom Brady's homecoming, there's a couple of things I will nitpick. They didn't play a perfect game by any stretch. First off, I'm going to start with Stephen Gostkowski, obviously the kicker for the New England Patriots. He's been the most accurate kickers in like the NFL within the last, let's say, 2 to 3 seasons or so. It's been for a couple years. I'll say a couple years, to be fair, a couple years. And I know they moved the extra point back by, 10, 15 yards? I mean, hell, the Seattle Seahawks know about it. Shout out Stephen Hauschka for missing that extra point. But it seems like Stephen Gostkowski, he's playing, I want to say he's underachieving, but he's been a little bit disappointing. He's a guy that, again, has been one of the more accurate kickers, and he's missing some easy kicks as of late. And I'm going, alright, what the hell is wrong with you? I mean, this is the same guy who, remember, when he met, and this was before they did the whole backwards, I believe, right? The whole backwards extra point, or was it last year they debuted it? One of the two, I forget. Remember last year, against the freaking Broncos in the playoff game. Now, granted, we were bound to lose that game anyways, because we had injuries galore and so on and so forth. And the Broncos were just a better team that game. I'm just going to be real with you. But Stephen Gostkowski missing that extra point, oh my God. Oh, it seems like ever since then, like his brain, it's there, but at times it's just in another galaxy somewhere. So it's just odd. And then one thing I will be worried is, even though the defense I think has played rather decent thus far this season, not too bad, not horrible either. I mean, it could be the worst defense. Carolina, New Orleans, those kind of defenses that are just dreadfully horrible. Remember when the Panthers were supposed to have a good defense? Yeah. But anywho, this defense kind of concerns me a little bit. It's not so much the secondary or anything like that. It's more so a bringing pressure on the quarterback. Now, I'm not saying that Andy Dalton's a bad quarterback. I mean, he went through 21 for 31, 254 yards, and a touchdown. But the fact of the matter is that this team has only has 11 sacks. I say it again, 11 sacks through the first 6 weeks of the season. That's not good. It's not dreadfully horrible, but it's not great. And I wouldn't classify it as good either. So it's kind of like, it's something that they need to improve on. Now, they are facing Pittsburgh next week. I know, another AFC North opponent. In Pittsburgh. Now, the Steelers are an interesting team right now because, interesting is in something. It's just, I just can't describe other than interesting, honestly, because Big Ben Roethlisberger got injured, and that's basically, my honest opinion, the main reason why they lost to the Dolphins. And again, the Steelers have a history of losing to teams. The Steelers are a weird team in the regular season. Like, they beat on the good teams, and then they lose to, like, one of the worst teams in the NFL. And I'm sitting there going, huh? You're in the same division as the Browns. So, with that in mind, and the Ravens, Joe Flacco, he's injured. They lose. Remember, just a few weeks ago, they were one of the hotter teams in the NFL. People were saying they were the number one in the power rankings, whatever, the NFL. And then they go to Philly, get destroyed by Carson Winston Company. And now they got the Patriots coming up with Ben Roethlisberger injured. Now, it wouldn't be a surprise to me that if Ben Roethlisberger does play, I would not be surprised. It's a big-time game. It's against the Patriots. It's in Pittsburgh. And I've said it before. The only way that Ben Roethlisberger, and it's why I always draft him in fantasy football, and whenever, I'm with my buddies, whatever, on Skype, talking about this, and I always say this, unless Ben Roethlisberger's decapitated, pronounced dead, and maybe, like, I don't know, in some Middle Eastern jail that's locked up by ISIS, Ben Roethlisberger's playing. Okay? This guy could have his arm cut off of him and he'll play. He can have both his legs cut off and he'll play. Alright, it's Ben Roethlisberger. I'm not gonna. We've seen it. So yeah, they got the Steelers coming up in Pittsburgh, so that should be a pretty interesting game. And that leads to my last point before I close this video and end this video, because overall it was a good win for the Patriots, and so far the Patriots are looking well, 5-1. But there's another team in the AFC East that people are jumping on the bandwagon of, it seems, hyping up to wazoo, and I'm just, deep down, I'm laughing inside. Because I'm not stupid. I've been following the AFC East for 16 years, or a little over 16 years. I know what happens in this division. I get it. Things happen from time to time. Obviously people leave, people go, injuries happen, so on and so forth. I understand that. But I know what the Buffalo Bills are like. How many times have we seen within the last, 5 years, I'll say 5 years, that this team has consistently done well in the first half of the season? They've done well. I'll give the devil their dues. They've done well in the first half of the season, usually. And they completely fall flat on their faces second half of the season, choke to death, and miss the playoffs. Quite a few times, to say the least. And, I could be wrong this time. Maybe somehow the Bills are inspired that, oh no, Rick Srine's going to get fired if we don't make the playoffs. I don't know. Maybe. crazier stuff have happened. But for me personally, I don't buy the Bills being a threat in the AFC East, let alone the AFC. Now, could there be a chance of them making, wild card? Sure, why not? But, and I know what people are going to be saying. Dude, they beat your team in New England just a couple of weeks ago. That is true, and it still baffles me. For the first time in like over a decade, the Bills won in Gillette Stadium. However, you need to consider this. That was the first game, I believe, that Rob Gronkowski was playing, and he only played like 4 or 5 snaps, and everyone knows how big he is to this offense. You also got to consider that, once again, they had no Tom Brady due to a suspension, because remember, he deflated footballs. Jimmy Garoppolo was out, and they only had one quarterback on their roster. And that one quarterback was also injured. That quarterback was also a rookie quarterback. That quarterback was also starting his second NFL start. Oh, and before I forget, he was injured. Do I need to say more about this? It's just, I don't buy the bill. And to me, when you're one of your top players, LeSean McCoy, his nickname is Shady for a reason. Trust me. Trust me. My worst Donald Trump impersonation. When he has the name of Shady, and yours truly has had him in fantasy a couple of times, fantasy football, I know what he looks like. One week he looks like the greatest running back in the NFL. The next week he'll be a dud. Next week, I'm not saying he'll do this next week, but I'm saying don't be surprised if he does something like this, like he did this week, and then the following week he'll have about 12, 15 carries for like, I don't know, 24 yards, a fumble, and no touchdowns. Don't be surprised if something like that happens. Because it's LeSean McCoy, it's the Buffalo Bills, they're cursed. Alright? That's just how it is. And the Dolphins obviously suck, and the Jets, put it this way, I forgot the Jets are even playing tomorrow night against the Cardinals here in Arizona. That's just how I feel about the Jets these days. And Eric Decker's on IR. Anywho, guys, that's it for me. I apologize for the little rant near the end. It's just something I felt like I needed to get off my chest. It was just something that I've been sitting here watching people blow their gasket about how amazing the Bills are, and I'm just saying, there's still a lot of football to be played. There's still a lot of football to be played. Still got a few more weeks in October, still got November, and still got the dog days of December coming up. Anything can happen in there. And I'm not saying, oh, it's a guarantee the Patriots are going to, walk away with this division. I'm not saying that at all. Hell, for all I know, the Patriots could choke and, somehow miss the playoffs and only get a wild card and the Bills win the division. Anything can happen. All I'm saying is simply this. Keep watching, because the NFL can be predictable as hell, and sometimes it can be predictable, sometimes it just simply can't. But you just need to watch some more football. That's all I got to say about that. But anyways, that's it for me, you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Patriots taking on the Steelers next week. Will Big Ben play? Who knows? I think he will, because for God's sakes, who the hell wants to see Tom Brady versus Leandry Jones? I mean, Leandry Jones, though. Anyways, that's it for me. Peace.